Hello one more time. Welcome back to another episode of the Curtis Zone. Your ever so awesome host, Dylan J. Curtis. I have to remind you that you hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell if you like what you're currently seeing. So, today we are giving you guys an episode which was a request from a fan here on the Curtis Zone. He asked that I do an episode on the most iconic weapons in all of action-packed children's programming, which includes comic books, Japanese anime, video games, the whole 9 yards. These are the weapons that we as viewers know these characters from. Not the most powerful weapons, the most iconic weapons. I'm talking when you first think of this character, this is the first thing you think of when you think of the show that they're in. I've come up with a list of 12 different weapons, and you, the viewer, will put in the comment section down below your top 10 on the most iconic, the most amazing, most well-known weapons that you can think of. Like I do with all these episodes, I ask that you really get in that comment section and really tell us what you think, okay? Get in on the conversation. Don't be shy. We all love it here on the Curtis Zone, okay? Not just me, the fans of all the Curtis Zone, we all love that, okay? Now let's get started with this episode, but before we do, as always, let's get started with some news. The first piece of news is this. I hope that everyone has seen the trailer for Daredevil Born Again, because we saw everything from the return of the Punisher to the return of all the other characters. We even saw some quick cameos from a lot of different characters in the MCU, Netflix version of the MCU. I hope that we see the return of Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Jessica Jones. However, that's just me talking. I don't know about the rest of you guys. The start film date of the upcoming Masters of the Universe movie has been set for June this year. However, they need to add some more people to the cast list, and it's looking like they're looking at Chris Hemsworth to play King Randor and Kate Beckinsale to portray the role of the Sorceress. However, these are just rumors. Nothing is set in stone yet. However, we can't wait nonetheless. The final piece of news is this. It has been reported that Grant Gustin is 110% on board of returning to the role of the Flash if James Gunn asks him to, very nicely of course. If that does happen, it does mean that we're going to be getting a crossover between the Arrowverse and the DCU. This is just, however, these are just rumors, just speculation. Nothing is set in stone, but we can't wait nonetheless. The first very iconic weapon we're going to talk about is the Batarang. Ever since its creation in September of 1939, it has gone through significant changes and a lot of updates. However, it remains the most used weapon in Batman's arsenal. This includes every other weapon that he has, my friends. The Batarang itself has been the pinnacle of Batman's career ever since its creation. And you have lots of different Batarangs that Batman has used. You have the Sonic Batarang, radio surveillance. You even have aerial surveillance Batarangs. However, the classic Batarang still remains Batman's main source of weaponry. The next most iconic weapon we're going to talk about is Ben 10's Omnitrix. Now, it can be used as a weapon to destroy or as a tool to build, due to the fact that the Omnitrix contains over 1 million different alien species inside of it. It has gone through significant changes from starting off as a watch, then moving on to a gauntlet, and then moving on to a lot of different things. However, it still has the same set of powers. The ability to transform someone into an alien species in order to understand what kind of powers that they have. And Ben 10 uses it like nobody's business. So yes, this is one of the most iconic weapons ever. See, now we're moving into swords, since they are the most main weapons for all main heroes throughout every continuity, this includes Japanese anime, a lot of stuff. The next iconic weapon we're going to talk about is Jason's Power Sword from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Ever since its creation, it has been used as the basis for all other swords throughout Power Rangers, due to the fact that it is the most iconic weapon ever, and it has been a part of Power Rangers ever since its beginning. The first thing you think about when you think Jason is that power sword. The sword itself is sharp enough to cut through anything, and it has the ability to charge itself up in order to throw energy blasts as well. And it is the main source of ammo for the power blaster as well. So if you cannot use the power sword to form the Power Blaster, then that means the Power Blaster will not work. However, that is just from what I understand. The next most iconic weapon we're going to talk about is He-Man's Sword of Power. Ever since it was created in 1984, it has had a lot of significant changes, but its power set has remained the same. It is the source of He-Man's power. Not just the source of it, but it also acts as an anchor for He-Man's power. As we all saw in Masters of the Universe Revelation, without He-Man's sword, the power goes crazy inside of him and turns him into a savage He-Man. So the sword itself is not just a source of power, but also an anchor, a balancing agent, if you will. And with that said, we move on to the next weapon. The next iconic weapon we're going to talk about is the Sword of Omens from Thundercats. The Sword of Omens was created by the Elders of Thundera and only to be used by the King of Thundera. The King of Thundera being known as Lion-O of the Thundercats. In other words, that means that the Thundercats are both a dictatorship and democracy as well. The sword itself is sharp enough to cut through anything, and it is powered by the spirit of Thundera, meaning that whoever uses it will have the power of an entire planet. So yeah, there's that. The next iconic weapon we're talking about is a lightsaber. The lightsabers have been the main source of weapons for the Jedi in Star Wars. And lots of different Jedis have lots of different lightsabers and lots of different lightsaber combat techniques. However, the lightsabers are the most iconic weapons due to the fact that they are the main source of weaponry in Star Wars. Because they are made from crystals, they have the ability to generate light and turn it into a physical weapon, which I thought was pretty amazing if you understand what that means. The next iconic sword we're going to talk about is the Ravemaster sword from the series Ravemaster. The reason being because the Ravemaster sword can transform it into anything, and it is the first weapon you think of when you think of this character. The reason why the Ravemaster sword can transform into anything is because once you get a Rave Stone, you get a new element which can transform the sword into anything else. This means that no matter what you put on the sword will still remain the same. It will just have a different power set. I hope that everyone watched Ravemaster and loved it as much as I did. The next iconic weapon we're going to talk about is the Blazing Sword from Voltron. The reason why the Blazing Sword is so iconic is because, and you knew I was going to say it, it is the main weapon for Voltron, Defender of the Universe. It has gone through a lot of changes over the years. However, it still remains the same weapon, the same type of sword. It also has the ability to charge itself up with flames in order to slice through someone, hence the name, the Blazing Sword. The sword itself cannot be used by anything other than Voltron. So I hope that everyone has watched Voltron, my friends. Now, let's talk about another sword from a video game, which is known as the Buster Sword. Now, here's the thing about the Buster Sword. It is exactly 31 inches long and at least 15 inches wide of nothing but pure chrome steel, sharp enough to cut through anything. How Cloud from Final Fantasy was able to lift it, I have no idea. It has gone through changes, but it has still remained the same type of sword. That is, unless you've watched the film Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. But the Buster Sword is still the first weapon that you think of when you think of Final Fantasy VII. That's just me talking. I don't know about the rest of you guys. The next iconic weapon we're going to talk about is Sora's Keyblade. The Keyblade has gone through lots of changes due to the fact that it comes from different worlds. Many Keyblades come from different worlds in the Disney universe. You have Keyblades from the world of Little Mermaid, Toy Story, Hercules, Monsters Incorporated. The list goes on for days, my friends. However, the Keyblade has not had that many changes as far as use goes. It is still a sword, but with different power sets, which is why it is most iconic that anyone has ever thought of. A lot of people can argue that the Star Saber doesn't belong on this list, but I say otherwise due to the fact that it has not had just one appearance. All right, it has appeared in Transformers Armada, Energon, Cybertron. It has even appeared in Transformers Prime. It was originally In Transformers Prime, it was originally created by the Primes to only be used by Prima, the leader of the 13 Primes. But in Transformers Armada, which is where I was first introduced to it, it was created due to the fact that it utilized 3 different minicons fused together to form a giant blade, which is impressive if you ask me. The sword is not only powerful enough to cut through anything, it can also split through atoms as well. That's just from what I've heard though. I don't know about you guys, that's just from what I heard. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Curtis Zone. I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it, and I hope that you guys are ready for more episodes of here on the Curtis Zone, because the next time you see me, I'm going to give you an episode on Action Man. You'll find out what it is eventually. For now, remember to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. And if you guys have a weapon that you think should be on this list, and just put it in the comment section down below. And as always, remember, if you guys have something that you think if you guys think that I should make a top 10 on this list, just put it in the comment section down below and I'll get back to you, as well as always be responding to your questions, comments, concerns, or if you just have a request for any episode period, I will give it to you very soon. As always, give some love to our sponsors, Coastal Waste Recycling, because as you know, your garbage power someone's world, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back very, very soon, but for now, peace.